The success rate of long-term relationships in the Western world has been hovering around the 40 to 50% mark since around the 1970s and 1980s. And prior to the 1900s, you were more likely to find a truthful politician than say a divorce. They just did not happen. And the reason why is simple. Society was not built to cope with singledom, at least not in large numbers. Hence, why relationships were largely for life and divorces were rare. Northwestern University psychologist Eli Finkel perhaps stresses this point best, highlighting that marriages in the Western world have gone through three stages. First, there was institutional marriage, which ran up until about 1850 and was an era defined by the fact that pretty much nobody divorced except in extreme circumstances. Then came compassionate marriage, which ran from about 1851 up until about 1965 and was an era defined by the fact that some people sort of could divorce, but not many did, as society was still not suitable really for single people. Finally came the self-expressive marriage era, which is the era we are currently in and is the era where people can divorce because the world is suitable for single people. So if you've ever wondered why so many people break up now compared to the past, it's because now we live in an era where being single is possible and accepted, which has never happened before in history. But of course, that does not explain why so many people choose to be single these days, and it especially does not explain why so many relationships end up failing. To understand that, we have to look a little deeper, and when you do, 5 reasons stick out for why so many relationships are destined to end in failure. Number one, we have the choice of entering into a relationship for any reason we want, even as a means of escaping something. Originally, we entered relationships because we needed to for survival, and this counted for both men and women, but today we don't. We enter them for whatever reason we want, and some people want to enter into relationships as a means of escaping something. That may be poverty, persecution, loneliness, boredom. It could be anything we want. And of course, relationships born for reasons like this rarely end well, which means one reason why so many relationships are destined to end in failure is because they begin for the wrong reasons. Number two, as the world changes, we change, and if people change, relationships often struggle to survive. A human superpower is how adaptive we all are. When our environment changes, we change with it, and even if we don't want to change with it and try to resist, because the modern world is so fast changing, often we don't have a choice. This presents a problem for relationships. As the world changes, people change, and as people change, that person we got with who may have been perfectly suited to us when we got with them may no longer be perfectly suited to us. That means a big reason why so many relationships are destined to end in failure is because we live in a world where all of us, and I mean all of us, are constantly changing to try to keep up with a world that won't stop changing. Number three, meeting lots of new people can change the way you see the people already in your life. And in the modern world, we are always on the cusp of meeting lots of new people. Imagine living in a world of just 60 people and never meeting anyone in your life other than those 60 people. Out of those 60, you're probably going to have at best 5 to 8 options available to you to get with. Now, imagine if you lived in a village of 1,000 people. Do you think with these added options you would have picked the same person? Maybe, but maybe not. And this matters. Sometimes, even though we don't intend to, and I'm not thinking that we are doing so, we simply pick the best available option to us. That means we don't pick a person we really connect with on a deeper level. We pick the person we feel the most for out of those available. Now, here's the problem with this. We suddenly get options, we can very easily find ourselves unhappy with our present relationship and wanting a new one. That means a big reason why so many modern couples find themselves struggling to stay together is because we live in a world where we are always on the cusp of meeting new people, and those new people we meet sometimes, just sometimes, may make us decide that a good relationship is actually a bad one. Number four, the honeymoon period can be addictive, and in the modern world, people get addicted to it. The honeymoon period of a relationship frequently gets compared to crack heroin, and for good reason. Thanks to all the feel-good chemicals that we get flooded with, it truly can feel magical, but there is a big difference between how we navigate the end of the honeymoon period in the present compared to how we did so in the past. In the past, when it ended, normally there would be a child to keep the bond strong, or an unrelenting quest to produce a child, or even an unrelenting quest to produce an environment where a child can be had. That now, of course, is rarely the case. Now there is not only just the fall down into the karma phase of the relationship, which is most often defined by a drop in excitement for each other, a drop in sexual frequency and intensity with each other, and a drop in everything really. And for most people, this is not a bad thing, as this gives them a chance to properly get to know each other and properly connect and accept each other on a deeper level. However, for those addicted to it, this drop down feels like the discovery that they have got with the wrong person. As such, a big reason why so many relationships are destined to end in failure is because a lot of people can't cope with the drop off in feel good chemicals that comes with the end of the honeymoon period. Number 5. Relationships are no longer about surviving and making babies. Predominantly, they are now about finding happiness. Prior to the 1800s, the child mortality rate was so high and conditions were so difficult that for the human race to survive, it was simply best practice for a woman to get with a man as soon as she was capable of safely being a mother, and for a man to get with a woman as soon as he was capable of providing for her. This is why historically, age gaps have favored the older man with the younger woman. It is also why love did not matter per se. The goal was not love. It was survival, specifically the survival of the human race. However, women no longer need to go through 4 or more successful pregnancies just to produce 2 children who may or may not make it to adulthood and have children of their own, which is, of course, the single-handed greatest achievement in human history and something that has led to one of the most profound changes. That change is the fact that relationships are now a choice, not a necessity. In the past, the thought of this being a reality was unprecedented, but now it is a reality. We have all been blessed with the power to end relationships without consequence, and the vast majority of us are willing to use that power again and again until we find what it is we are looking for, which for most people is a happily ever after. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel, because the more who do so, the more of these videos I can make. Is that a good bribe? I hope it is. I'll see you next time.